Welcome back, everyone, to another episode where I attempt to show you how you can improve and eventually, although you will probably never get there, dominate on the battlefield as much as I do by selecting an assortment of below average results which I achieved in my usual Unicom style gameplay. I've selected some games that show and showcase things that you should try to do in order to improve yourself, which will be challenging because of course you are not equipped even minutely as closely and as effortlessly with the extreme gifts and talents which I will put on display for you today. Now, the secret in this particular undertaking was to play heavy tanks. I know that I tend to prefer to play the Manticore to give the other team a chance by playing the most underwhelming tank. I've switched to heavy tanks, which means, of course, the enemy team has no chance in any game that I play against them, but I've decided to showcase ways to play heavy tanks where you do the unexpected, and of course nobody expects the T-110E5 to play as a medium, so that is exactly what we will do. We will simply move into the middle here, recklessly, knowing that we will get shot by somebody, but that's okay. And we will move in to counter cap and fight against the big boys. Let's do that here. 60 TP has taken a shot, and he's probably missed, so it's up to me then to pull forward and take a shot myself. Doing some damage and getting on the board. Now the 60 TP has a long reload and is staring at the rock because he has no idea what to do. So I will just wait here until he pulls forward and takes a hit for me, at which time I can, if he doesn't block my way forward, I can move forward here and take another hit. Or another shot. Another shot is what a medium tank has rudely shot me from behind, so obviously the correct strategy now in a heavy tank is to go chase the medium tank, which is of course not expected by anyone other than another Unicom that would run in fear as I approach him. Now he is about 3 times faster than me, which makes it easy for me to catch up to him and watch him fall off this cliff as I push him, and then I will surge forward and leap on him and track myself in order to give him a false sense of security of him backing up, and I'll take another shot, which Wargaming bounced because of course they are trying to make my success harder to achieve. And now we have lost our engine, and the T-57 has smoking. We have no HP, no engine, so obviously the correct thing to do now is to just surge forward and keep attacking, and while he tries to aim his last shot, we will just take him out. And rather than retreat and wait till our engine is repaired, what we will do now is we will just bait the T-57 into a false sense of security and say, go ahead, try and shoot me, I dare you. Oh, you tried to shoot me? Well, goodbye. It's time for you to go back to the garage. And now, obviously, the correct strategy is to move forward and simply fight this super conqueror who is not so super. Here, please, bounce on my armor. Oh, you missed? Well, you think you're behind the rock? Well, you're not. And take him out easily. And now, as the slowest tank on the team, it's simply a matter of cruising in behind and farming the last remaining few hapless enemies that remain and ensure that I get the final kill, finishing on top with over 3,000 damage and 4 kills. This will be easy. It's simply a matter of moving into position and waiting as my teammates flounder out of position. And just take a couple of shots on this hapless T-110E5 who has no idea how to play the T-110E5 properly, which is what I just illustrated. And I'll take another shot at him, knowing that my friend in the 60 TP does not like to shoot his gun. And so I will simply reload before anyone approaches and secure the last kill, finishing on top with close to 4,000 damage. And as we move on to fight in a different heavy tank, we have chosen the IS-7 this time. And obviously, most of my opponents will assume that the IS-7 will move in and brawl with the other heavies, but obviously the correct strategy for a super Unicom who wishes to A chi of a WN8 of over 3,300 is to do the opposite, is to move into the field and confuse the enemies by, of course, placing them in a crossfire, which my teammates are incapable of achieving on their own. They require the foresight and ingenuity and sense of a Unicom player on their team to achieve this, and although they will be upset that the I-7 is in the field, they will ping my location. I will show them that obviously this is the correct strategy to win the game, and I will simply move into a position here where my gun depression is adequate and the topography covers my lower plate, and now allow my teammates to fight head-on as the Muppets they are, not realizing that the enemies will simply press number 2 and load heat, and they will exchange AP like the Muppets they are, while the IS-7, perched in this perfect position, which I've chosen for myself, will continue to farm over and over and over again. As fast as my gun can reload, I will pump out the damage, enabling my team to defeat the enemies easily, although they will be confused and filled with adrenaline and wonder why things are progressing the way they are and not understand that we have this game in full control. They will continue to ping my location. Ping, ping, ping. IS-7, what are you doing over there? Why don't you come down here? If you were down here, your shells would not have to travel as far as they do. I know that when you press the trigger now, your shell has to travel 200 meters, but if you were down here and you press the trigger, your shell would only have to travel 50 meters. In the minds of a hapless, pathetic simpleton, the difference between a shell traveling 50 meters and 200 meters is a source of aggravation and results in pinging the map and crying and whining and talking about your mother and asking you to uninstall, when in reality my positioning here, enabling myself to pound the enemies over and over and over in this crossfire, has whittled their HP down so far. And there comes another ping, 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 ping. You shot that mouse and he was 212 meters away. Can you move closer and shoot the mouse from 130 meters away? Oh, I think I will just continue to fire my gun like this. And when I realize that my teammates are low enough on HP that they are ready to rage quit, I will then move forward and sacrifice myself while they regenerate some HP and perhaps cap, or perhaps just do what simple players do and drive around aimlessly. So now I will surge forward in front of my low HP enemies and say, go ahead, Wargaming should be able to give you some good RNG. There you go, you've set me on fire. Well done, well done. GG for you. You're so happy that Wargaming said yes, you can have a critical hit. I will just shoot you in the lower plane. Now shoot me again while my lower HP teammate takes you out. This is my strategy all along. Well, you killed my driver and Wargaming has allowed my shot to bounce, but victory is assured. A small 4,870 damage is what I achieved in this game. As I said, I'm featuring some below average simple games. I do not want to feature the above average games, or you will be distraught and realize that you will never be able to achieve my greatness. So I'm showing you some below average gameplay. Let's move on to the next game, as this game is of course over. And as you're watching this, I'm sure you have probably figured out by now that you will never achieve the greatness that I have, and I will show you these below average games so that your aspirations get quashed and you realize that you will never achieve this and just be awed by my awesomeness. The Object 140 on my team is telling me that he will move to E3, and of course I reply affirmative. I realize that he needs support, as he will never be able to achieve superiority at E3 on his own, so I will move in a position to support him, knowing that the rest of my team will probably go up the hill and exchange HP with the enemy team again. And of course the Object 140 heads that way, and I will as well. Now the Super Conqueror tries to slow me down, but I go around him. What this hapless Object 140 hoped to achieve on his own is beyond me, but of course I realize to ensure victory I must support the Object 140 and have just a below average game. Of course, if I rushed the hill, I would have easily done 7,000 or 8,000 damage. Let's just snap a shot here. Onto the T-57 Heavy, just to get on the board. And knowing that he will shoot me back, it's fine. That enables me to allow the T-57 Heavy to stop and commit himself. Ha ha ha. What a silly little tank. He is going after a medium tank, thinking he has the upper hand, but even though we do not have gun depression here, we just have to find Pixel, and Yuri says yes, there is Pixel. So the Pixel has been hit, and I allow the enemies now to shoot me, thinking, oh look, we can do damage if we flank on this side, baiting them to commit to this portion of the map. And while the Object 140 is struggling versus the T-57 Heavy, I will maneuver into position where I can pump another shot into him. But instead of doing that, it's possible that the correct strategy would be to shoot the Super Conqueror instead, who is wallowing in the middle of the map by himself. Ha ha ha! And so by allowing myself to be shot, I have ensured that the enemies will commit to this side of the map. And even though my teammates on the hill do not realize that many of the enemies are focusing on us, I can continue to support the Object 140 and take out this hapless Super Conqueror who has positioned himself now in a position that I would call stupid. There he is, wondering why his teammates are not helping him while I pump another shot at him. And that's the simple strategy involved in confusing the enemies to such a point where they have no idea what's going on. The T-110E3 is facing the wrong direction, as most players in this game tend to do. And I will ignore the players in the low ground now and make my mark on the hill, knowing that my teammates on the hill need assistance. And I'll have you know now that because I have gone down the 1-2 line, I've ensured victory for my team. And of course cost myself 3,000 or 4,000 HP of damage. I would have easily farmed my way through them if I went up on the hill, but instead I decided to help out my medium tank, who has died anyway. But that's okay, we will simply wait for one of these enemies to back up foolishly and pump a shot into their ass. And as we are approaching 4,000 damage, we will use the Arty Strike to take one of the enemies out. Shall we take one out? Oh, it looks like we have damaged both, but not taken them out. And if they return backing up, I'll take them. Now, Wargaming gave that kill to one of my teammates because their computer program did not work properly. And I should have finished this game with 2 kills. But Wargaming only gave me credit for 1. And just to illustrate that every 500 or 600 games, even a super unicom such as myself will make what some may classify as a mistake, which is actually just a slight deviation from the plan. In this particular game, resulting in it being a little close for comfort. But of course the correct strategy here, since we have a STB-1 which will detect the enemy players, is to go support him from this position that he detects them from and try and pump a shot into the enemy tank that will try to detect us. And I'm going to move here. Now the problem is that the STB-1 does not activate his vision fast enough, so he activated it before the, or after the EBR got himself into cover. So trying to help the STB-1 pump a little shot early on was a slight deviation from the strategy, which is to rush to the A12, B12 area of the map. But that is okay, because looking at the distribution of tanks on our team, I realize that we have a Badger and 60 TP who are not even there yet and do not require my assistance yet. So, as I said, a slight deviation to the plan, not a mistake. You can learn from these occurrences by learning that you may have to deviate your plan as well sometimes. And as the prediction goes, the Badger, the slowest tank in the game, lost half his HP, has not even arrived at the battle yet, and I allow one of the IS-7s on the enemy team to take a shot at me just to make him feel safe in that position. And it looks like our team has lost lots of HP. We are down 2,500 HP. And we do not have map position, and we do not have good positions, so obviously The correct strategy is not to fight the hull-down IS-7. I am well aware of the strength of the IS-7 turret, and I survey the battlefield and realize there is only one way to win this game. And of course I must have to show my team how to do this, and is to come around in this direction and try and get a superior force of my players to fight an inferior force of their players. And we'll just take a few minutes to realize where that is. And now that I've surveyed the battlefield, I realize there is only 2 enemies in that position there, the Conqueror and the AMX, and there are 4 of us. So the only way to win this game is if I hope that my teammates follow me and I say, team, it's 4 versus 2 if you charge forward right here. And I will lead the charge, knowing how shy most of my teammates are. It's 4 versus 2 if you come with me. And that is the only way to ensure victory. We can outgun the enemies. And even though I have lost my engine, I will just come around this Super Conqueror and let my teammate kill him. And because we surged forward, we were able to quickly take out 2 of the enemy tanks. And of course now the correct strategy is to mop up the damage. Mopping up the damage is simple. You just have to move into position and take shots of opportunity. And if you do things exactly like I do, and have a situation exactly like I did, you too could possibly be as good as I am. And I will just take a quick shot at his rear and not allow him to shoot me back. Ha ha ha. Sucks to be you. And come around the other side here and find a bigger target, one that is of the German variety, perhaps a big fat E100 Derriere. Now the Derriere of the E100 is a nice target, is nice and big and flat, of the German variety. And as he backs up, perhaps it would be nice to track him in place, but the shot deviated from the track wheel. The E100 has fired his gun, so obviously the correct strategy now is to put a shot right into the track wheel. There you go. Sit right there, little guy. It'll all be over soon. It's still 4-4, which is a close game, and now that your track is repaired and you are aiming at me, I will let you shoot me and I will track you again. And here we go. We shall ignore the EBR for now, because he is a pesky critter. So we'll just put a warning shot. And we will bounce a warning shot off him, just to let him know, if you come back again, I will pen you. And now ignore him and move forward and help take out this 60 TP, which is aptly named TP. You're going to need some TP when we're done. Now you want to shoot me, I'll just back up and not allow you to. Your turn is fairly slow, so I will just avoid it and move in this direction, and you can die. Now, the EBR will continue to drive around like a muppet, so the correct strategy now is for my teammates to go and cap. Alright, and hopefully they will do that. And the correct strategy for me now is to drive in a clockwise orientation around this rock. And that is exactly what we're going to do. Here we go. We're going to drive in a clockwise motion around this rock. And those of you who understand the strategy of this game will realize that a Super Unicom will sometimes evoke these strategies which are hard to understand by the simple person. But trust me that if I had driven around this rock in a counterclockwise position, it would not have ended as well. So driving around in a clockwise position was the correct strategy. Now we will wait here and hope that this hapless little EBR shows up, and of course he has killed himself. My driving around in a clockwise orientation scared him sufficiently that he threw himself off one of the numerous cliffs on this map. And there you go. I hope you've learned something, if it's possible for you to learn anything, by watching the greatness which I illustrated here on this video. And I'll have you know that if you perform and go about your game in exactly the way that I did and encounter the exact same enemies that do the exact same things, then you too could be as great as I am, although you will struggle, and I did not. And perhaps if I make another video showing even more elaborate strategies, you can contemplate watching that and wonder whether you'll ever achieve the greatness that I have. I don't know if I can make these videos. I've got to do 4 games. I just have to be ready for when the game starts. Here we go. Well, let's wait a minute. Wait till the countdown gets to 20. Now, what am I going to be in an IS-7 here? What's the correct strategy for an IS-7? The IS-7 is a brawler, so obviously we will snipe from the field. As we move on to fight in a different heavy tank, we have chosen the IS-7 this time.